You have situations where somebody is put in a very forced, controlled, terrorized environment, and then come out of that environment into, in Jaycee's case and other individuals I've worked with, into a very changed world. And I think we need to keep that in mind, that in addition to the amazing joy that we're all seeing, and it's so touching and beautiful, they're also coming into a world that is very different than when they left. And I think that's one of the common denominators.
You know, I was watching Leland Vittert's program right before our program, and one of the guests he had on talked about the simple act of making a choice, when to sit down, when to stand up, when to go to the bathroom. I don't think any of us ever would have imagined that this can be overwhelming for hostages or kidnap victims when they're freed.
I'm so glad you highlighted that, because to this day, Jaycee and others I've worked with said the most difficult thing I did with them was ask them, would you like a glass of water or a cup of tea? And so that is, there's so much talk of neuroplasticity and things like that these days in the brain. And just the fact that you don't have those choices can be overwhelming. And for so many of us, in so many locations, wherever we live in this world, there's so many choices. When you're in the situation, it's such a restricted choice that it really can feel overwhelming. And I'm of the belief that from day one, that's a very important thing. Without overwhelming choices. It's like, would you like tea? Would you like cold water? So you begin the process of saying, like so many people are beginning to talk about, reestablishing a sense of agency, a sense of control over the world that they didn't have.
You know, Sergeant Hermaning said, as a 21-year-old being released, so he was captured at about 20, right? 444 days. He came back, decided to continue his tour with the Marines, finish it out, and spoke to a lot of high schools about his ordeal. And I lived through those early 80s where I know we never spoke of trauma. We never discussed those things. I remember the term used to be shell shock for soldiers coming home, and it was just not discussed. My grandfather, my great uncles, nobody discussed it. Do you think that Sergeant Hermaning was mentally rescued by the fact that he happened to be on a speaking tour?
I think that absolutely. And again, we need to remember our individual differences. I did talk to a victim of something from Somalia who talked about, for him, what he would do was just sit by the ocean and talk to the seagulls about what had occurred, because he didn't want to go public. And I think about that a lot. I do think the telling of the story is important, but there are variables. And but I love what you said, that I think we're of the same women of a certain age, and the same thing, you just didn't talk about it, you kept it quiet. But there are individuals and families where some of the parents don't want to hear all the details of what occurred. And sometimes a sibling, a child, doesn't want to burden their parents with all of the details. And I think we need to remember that front and center, the individual differences within people and within family members as well, of what people can handle hearing and what people can handle sharing.
Dr. Rebecca Bailey, I am so glad that you are in consultation with these Israeli therapists and their groups as they tackle this massive job ahead of them, because that is just so sage, the things that you just said. And many of us, unless you've been through it, you wouldn't understand it. Thank you for this tonight. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about it.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, a lot of my work has been with the kids that were there left behind. I know the Israel government has a lot of therapists working in one segment, but working with the community members that were left behind, within a week of the music festival, they contacted me to see, how do we restore a sense of safety in the community? I just wanted to clarify that, because I thought that was so wise of them.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.